Yeah, David would be really, really annoyed by any of this. I'm just telling you. Just, ugh.
He didn't particularly care to be in the limelight.
He did not want credit. He didn't want to be recognized. He just wanted to provide an opportunity for us to do our jobs.
There's always a huge tension between those who have the power and those who don't. And what David was able to do is find a way to help those who didn't have the power get that power.
David Hall is a legend, period, paragraph.
David's from Baytown. His family is pretty conservative. He came to UT. He was a Silver Spur. I think he was always somewhat of a, maybe I would say a curiosity to some of his family.
David signed up for the Peace Corps. He returned with probably renewed focus about finishing law school and devoting his career to working on behalf of people who couldn't afford a lawyer.
I'm not sure where David had his epiphany about helping the poor. He wanted to represent people that were powerless.
What David was able to do is get their voices heard in a way that they hadn't been before.
David began his legal career as a farm worker lawyer.
At that time, farm workers had so few legal rights. They didn't have the right to a minimum wage. They didn't have the right to workers' compensation, to unemployment. They were getting poisoned by pesticides in the field.
My brother and I grew up at an early age working in the fields, and you either did the work or the next day the roquero that picked you up just would skip your house.
He was going to bring the resources of legal aid to the fight. He really wanted to do the impact cases, voting rights, immigration. He felt that the one place where his client community could be equal to anybody else on any other ground was in courtrooms.
Impact litigation created a lot of attention to TRLA, and it also created a bullseye for people wanting to attack our funding.
His goal was to have the best legal minds that he could put together to go into that battle.
He created a formula of having a highly motivated attorney that wanted to do impact litigation, paired with paralegals who basically had grown up in the community and were somewhat of troublemakers. And those troublemakers really pointed the way as to where the problems existed and what needed to be corrected.
He trusted the people that he hired, that they would do the right thing, and he let us fight for the things that we really believed in.
He liked to tilt at windmills to some degree. He liked to poke the beehive, so to speak, in the halls of power. David would go off and authorize lawsuits that would challenge a sitting congressman's seat or, a local political official or school board.
He could be somewhat disarming, but if you underestimated him, you did so at your peril.
At the end of the day, what David really wanted is to expand and provide a competent legal representation to those that have the least opportunity to receive that.
Having lawyers for poor people is not just a niche thing so that lawyers can practice being lawyers as they come out of law school.
How can we try to level the playing field for the most vulnerable among us? He would pipe up and say, well, look for the North Star. North is your friend. North is your friend. That's what, he had a very deep voice. David was our North Star.